Baruchot habaot, ladies. Thank you so much for coming, for venturing out. Very, very hot, we'll call it a heat wave, and coming to this shiur. Thank you so much. HaKadosh Baruch Hu should bless you and maintain you and sustain you for this Kiddush Hashem that you're doing, that every time you come, you drop everything at home and you devote time to Torah learning. A tremendous zechut this is for you. And of course to all our viewers on Torah Anytime, that you log on and you make it your business to listen to shiurim no matter where you are, whether you're in your car or whether you're at home cooking or just working on your computer and you have us in the background. Kadosh Baruch Hu yimaleh kol mishalot libchem letova ulivracha. Ladies, in just a few days we'll be entering the month of Elul, which marks the beginning of the Yamim HaNoraim. Since Elul is the last month of the year and it comes right before Rosh Hashanah, the day where the entire world is being judged, Elul was established as a month for tshuva. Now if you remember, when the Jews sinned by worshipping the golden calf back in Mitzvah, back in the days of Mitzrayim, Moshe Rabbeinu alav hashalom saw this horrible display of ingratitude to Hashem, and he broke the luchot, he broke the tablets, the 10 commandments. And at that point, the Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted to destroy Am Yisrael, and then Moshe Rabbeinu felt so bad, and he begged, and he davened for Hashem, for Rachamim. So Kadosh Baruch Hu agreed, and Moshe Rabbeinu went back up to Har Sinai in order to bring down, to receive an additional set of luchot. When Moshe went up to Har Sinai, it was Rosh Chodesh Elul, and he stayed there for 40 days until the 10th of Tishrei, which we know is Yom Kippurim. Yom Kippur is when he brought down the second set of luchot together with forgiveness from Hashem. For this reason, starting from Rosh Chodesh Elul, it is a period of teshuvah, forgiveness, and coming close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Not only that, but according to some Mefarshim, on the 25th of Elul, the world was created. This world that we're living in was created. So this coming month is very, very special. It's an auspicious month. In the Sefer Chayei Adam, we're taught that the greatest chesed HaKadosh Baruch Hu did with us is that he prepared a path for us so that we could rise from the pitfalls of our actions, so that we could save our neshamot from destruction, and that we could do tshuva. HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not close the doors of tshuva on anybody. And this process of tshuva begins with 3 steps: teshuvah, tefillah, u'tzedakah, ma'avirin et roa hagezerah. Doing teshuvah, repenting, praying the necessary tefillot, and being charitable can deter the evil decree. So today, ladies, we are going to talk about the power of tzedakah, which is something that we actually learn in this week's Parshat Re'eh, where the pasuk says, Ki yehiyeh becha evion me'echad achicha, if there will be among you a needy person from one of your brothers, be'echad she'arecha be'artzecha, in one of your gates, in one of your cities, lo te'ametz et levavecha, you should not harden your heart, velo tikpotz et yadecha me'achicha ha'evion, and you shouldn't close your hand to your needy brother. Ki fatoach tiftach et yadcha lo, rather you should open your hand to him. Ve'ha'avet ta'avitenu dei machsoro asher yachsar lo, and you should lend him enough money for the needs that he's lacking. And in return, when you do this, what's going to happen? יברכך השם אלוקיך בכל מעשיך ובכל משלוח ידיך. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to bless you in all your work, in everything that you do, and in every undertaking of yours. Ladies, the Torah HaKadoshah is speaking about the mitzvah of tzedakah and helping our fellow brothers and sisters with everything that they need and whatever is missing in their life because they're not able to support themselves. HaKadosh Baruch Hu promises that if you open your hand to the person who's asking, it's guaranteed that you're going to have bracha in everything that you do and all your endeavors. But it's very interesting that the Torah attaches great significance to the hand that a person uses in order to perform the mitzvah of tzedakah. What does the pasuk say? Velo takpotz et yadecha. You shouldn't close your hand. And then it says, Ki fatoach tiftach et yadecha lo. You should open your hand to your brother. So we see that the Torah mentions the use of the hand a couple of times. So we have to try to understand this because there are many mitzvot aseh where we use our hands. For example, the mitzvah of returning a lost object, Hashavat Avedah, requires the use of your hands. You return that which was lost to a person. We take the Arba Minim in our hands on Sukkot. We shake the lulav, we have the etrog, we use our hands. For a woman, it might be the mitzvah of challah. You knead the dough, you shape the dough, you create the form, the shape of the challah. Nerot Shabbat, you use your hand to light candles, or other mitzvot where our hands are being utilized. So why is it that when it comes to these other mitzvot that I just mentioned, and I'm sure there are others more, we don't see that HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells us to use our hands like he does here specifically with regards to the mitzvah of tzedakah. Not only that, but Chachamim place such value on the mitzvah of tzedakah that in the Gemara of Baba Batra we're told Shekula tzedakah keneged kol ha-mitzvot. Giving tzedakah is equivalent to all the other mitzvot in the Torah HaKadoshah combined. Wow! That means that if you would put all the other mitzvot in the entire Torah on one side of a scale, and then you put the mitzvah of tzedakah on the other side of the scale, the mitzvah of tzedakah would weigh the same, which is incredible. And then the Gemara tells us that a person who refuses to give tzedakah because he wants to hold on to his money, he makes the Shekhinah HaKadoshah angry, and he's considered appalling in the eyes of Hashem. And worse, you're not going to believe this, the Gemara says if you would trace back his family tree, you might find that he doesn't descend from our Avot HaKadoshim. Wow, that's a very serious matter, ladies. This is not a joke. But how do we understand all of this? Rabbi Yosef Tzarfati, alav hashalom, comments on the words in this week's parasha, Velo takpotz et yadecha me'achicha ha'evyon, that you shouldn't close your hand to your destitute brother, ki fatoach tiftach, but rather you should open your hand to him. He explains that in the Midrash of Kohelet Rabbah, our Chachamim tell us something fascinating. You see, when a person is born into the world, he's born with his hands clenched tight, or at least semi-closed. Why? Because it's as if the baby is saying, the entire world belongs to me, and I can now do whatever I please. But guess what? The opposite happens when a person passes away from this world. When a person dies, his hands are wide open, and it's as if he's now saying, I didn't attain anything in this world. That's the reason that HaKadosh Baruch Hu begs every single person, and he says, אל תאמץ את לבביך ולא תקפוץ את ידך מאחיך האביון. Don't harden your heart or close your hand to your brother who is in need. Don't close your hand tightly like that baby at birth who's selfish and thinks that the entire world belongs to him. Because when all is said and done, at the end of your life, kifatoach tiftach et yadecha lo. When a person dies, God forbid, he's going to inevitably open his hand before HaKadosh Baruch Hu, showing him that he's leaving this world empty-handed without any of his possessions. Nothing is going with that person. And if that's the case, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, wouldn't you be much better off opening your hand willingly while you're still alive so that you could do the mitzvah of tzedakah? Because if you do, you could inherit olam haba. That's what the pasuk says in Sefer Mishlei. What does it say? Lo yo'ilu otzarot rasha v'tzedakah tatzil mimavet. The treasures of the Rashaim, they won't have any benefit. But tzedakah can rescue a person from death. What does this mean? Shlomo HaMelech Alav Shalom tells us that when the day comes that we have to face our Creator, no money in the world is going to be able to help us. Only the tzedakah can rescue us from that day of judgment, from that day of death. Why does tzedakah have the power to save a person from death? The Zohar Kadosh explains the following. A poor person is a miskan, is considered as if he's dead. Ani chashuv kemet. So if you come along and you support a person by giving him tzedakah, it's like you're doing techiyat hametim. You are literally resurrecting the dead. You're helping to bring to life a person who was considered like he was dead. And how does HaKadosh Baruch Hu deal with you? Midah keneged midah. Because you saved someone from death, so to speak, by giving him tzedakah and opening your hand to him, you're going to be saved from death, or God forbid, from a dangerous situation if need be. You'll also experience a techiyat hametim in your life. Ladies, we said that every person is born with his fists closed tight, as if he's declaring brazenly that the entire world belongs to him. But listen to this chidush. If you overcome this awful midah of stinginess by opening your hand to give tzedakah, Chachamim say it's as if you are imitating the act of a dying man. What does that mean? It means that you're reminding yourself of how a person dies. That when he dies with his hands open. You're telling yourself that nothing belongs to you and that ultimately you don't leave this world with anything other than the ma'asim tovim and the tzedakah you gave. You hear this? And when Hashem sees this, He sees your good intentions. He sees that you're reminding yourself, so to speak, of the day of death and that you're generously opening your hand to give tzedakah. So you know what happens at that moment? You're not going to believe it. HaKadosh Baruch Hu considers it as if you died with open hands, even though you're still very much alive. Which means that if chas v'shalom there was a gezerah against a person and he was really supposed to die, lo alenu, tzedakah tatzil mimavet, in the zchut of the person opening his hand while he was still alive, HaKadosh Baruch Hu spares his life. What a chidush this is, ladies. We're being taught over here that it's in our best interest to open our hands willingly while we're still alive, because it could spare us from the gezerah of death if necessary. That's how powerful the mitzvah of tzedakah is. Now, The Ben Ish Chai, alav shalom, in his Sefer Chazdei Avot, discusses the following Mishnah. Mishnah says, Im lamadeta Torah harbe, if you studied a lot of Torah, al tachzik tova le'atzmecha, don't take too much credit for yourself, ki lekach notzarta, because it's for this purpose that you were created bichlal. And the Ben Ish Chai analyzes the word lekach. Kach means for this reason, for this purpose. And he points out that the word lekach is made up of two types of the letter kaf. There's a closed kaf and there is an open kaf. What does this mean? The Ben Ish Chai says that these two letters are hinting to us how we're born into this world and how we leave this world. The closed kaf, and kaf means the palm of the hands, kaf yad, right? Kapayim. The closed kaf represents that baby who's born with his fist, with his palm closed tightly, as if he's holding on to everything tightly for his own personal benefit. And the open kaf looks like the palm of your hand when it's open, as if you're declaring that you leave this world empty-handed. And that's what the Mishnah is teaching us, ladies. Im lamadeta Torah harbe, al tachzik tova le'atzmecha. In other words, don't ask to receive your due reward for learning Torah or for doing the mitzvot. Don't ask for compensation in this world in the form of gashmiut. You know, some people out there, they want to be rewarded for their Torah learning or the mitzvot that they do by asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu to give them material items. They want money, they want luxurious items, they want a big house, they want the materialistic items of this world. But the Mishnah says no. You should rather wait patiently for the rewards that you're going to receive in Olam Haba. Why? Ki lekach notzarta. Because that's why you were created in the first place. In other words, the Mishnah specifically uses the word lekach for this reason, because it's showing us that our existence in this world includes both aspects of the letter kaf, the closed kaf and the open kaf. In other words, everything that you try to hold on to with your closed fist, which is the closed kaf, you're going to leave it all behind when you're not willing to open your hand, which is the open kaf. So if that's the reality of life anyway, why would you waste your rewards on absurdities that are momentary? You want to ask for a reward that you can't even take with you to Olam Haba? Can you take your house with you to Olam Haba? No. Can you take your jewelry with you to Olam Haba? No. Can you take your money with you to Olam Haba? No. So why are you busy asking for these things as a reward for all the good that you do down here, for the Torah learning that you do, if you can't take it with you to the next world anyway? Hashem says you were put on this earth for that reason, to do good, to follow the mitzvot, to follow the path of Torah. But you can't ask, and you shouldn't ask for monetary items or materialistic items for all this, because first of all, it's for this reason that you were created, and second of all, you can't take those things with you to Olam Haba anyway. Now, we said earlier that the mitzvah of tzedakah is so great that it's equivalent to all the other mitzvot in the Torah HaKadosha combined. The holy Reb Noach Elimelech Alav Shalom writes that man was created to overcome his natural tendencies, to correct his negative midot, and to break his bad habits. But in order to do that, you have to act the opposite of that particular bad midah of yours for 40 days in a row. I'm going to explain it to you. For example, if you're a stubborn person, this is a negative midah, it's not so good. So how do you correct being stubborn? For 40 days in a row, you should behave in the opposite way. For 40 days, you should try to be a little bit more agreeable, a little bit more flexible. If you're lazy, that's also a bad midah, being an atzlan. So to try to fix your laziness, you should spend 40 days pushing yourself to actually achieve something, go somewhere, do something. And why should you do this? Because when you do something for a period of 40 days, those 40 days are going to become the source and the beginning of all the things that are going to come after that. That means that in those 40 days, you're attempting to correct the source of your negative trait. And when you correct the source, that's going to correct everything else that follows. By the way, that's why there are 40 days from Rosh Chodesh Elul until Yom Kippurim. Because Chachamim are hoping that in these 40 days of tshuva, you'll find a way to correct the mistakes of the past, and you'll begin a new year with positive midot, with more mitzvot under your belt. Interestingly, the students of the Baal Shem Tov Alav Hashalom emphasized how important it is that your first thoughts, the first thing you say or do as you get up in the morning should be positive. Why? Because that's what's going to set the tone for the rest of the day. So that being said, we started the shiur by saying that the first thing a person does when he enters this world as a baby is that he clenches his fists, which is a statement that the entire world is his. Obviously, this is a bad midah. It comes from the Yetzer Hara that makes a person lust after the meaningless nonsense of this world. And if a person already began his life with such a negative midah, then that midah is going to become the source of his bad nature to be a kamtzan in the future. A kamtzan is a stingy person. But if a person tries to get rid of this bad midah by doing the opposite during his lifetime, by opening his closed hand willingly to give tzedakah, then he might just be able to overcome not just that negative characteristic trait, but all the other negative midot that he was born with as well. Hear this? It's amazing. But I still want to know why giving tzedakah is equivalent to all the other mitzvot in the Torah combined. You see, Rabbi Hanania ben Akashi alav hashalom says in the Mishnah that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to give Am Yisrael a zechut. What did he do? He says, Lefichach hirba lahem Torah u'mitzvot. He gave us an abundance of Torah and mitzvot. What does that mean, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu provided us with an abundance of Torah and mitzvot? The Zohar Kadosh teaches us that the 248 mitzvot aseh, the positive commandments, they correspond to the 248 limbs of the body. And the 365 mitzvot lo ta'aseh, the negative commandments, they correspond to the 365 sinews, veins, and arteries in our body. Says the Ari Kadosh alav hashalom, because Adam and Chava sinned in Gan Eden when they ate from the Etz Hadat, man's 248 limbs and 365 sinews, they were all affected, defective, infected by the Tumah and the Zuhama of the Nachash. What did Hashem do? He had rachamim on us, He had mercy on us. He gave us 248 mitzvot aseh and 365 mitzvot lo ta'aseh, in order to heal those limbs and those sinews so that our body should have a refuah shelema. And that's what Rabbi Hanania meant when he said, Ratza HaKadosh Baruch Hu lezakot et Yisrael. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to give Am Yisrael a zechut. The word lezakot is similar to the word zikuch. Zikuch means to make something pure, to purify something. That means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to make Am Yisrael clean and pure from all the contamination and the uncleanness of the nachash, all the damages that he caused to our body back then in Gan Eden. So how was HaKadosh Baruch Hu going to achieve this? Lefichach hirba lahem Torah u'mitzvot. HaKadosh Baruch Hu provided us with so much Torah, with so many mitzvot. The Torah is made up of 248 mitzvot aseh and 365 lo ta'aseh. And all these mitzvot help to correct the damage that the nachash caused. And all these mitzvot help to correct the damage that the nachash caused. Maybe now we can understand why the mitzvah of tzedakah is equivalent to all the other mitzvot. Ladies, by opening your hand to give money to a person who really needs it, you are able to correct the original bad midah. Which bad midah? The one you were born with, that you closed your fist immediately upon entering this world, and that's the first thing you did. And when you correct the root of all the negative midot which stem from that first day, you're also able to correct all the other bad midot as well that come after that. That's why tzedakah is equivalent to all of the other mitzvot combined, because all the mitzvot in the Torah are supposed to rid your limbs and your sinews of all the negative mitzvot. They're supposed to heal you from all the negative influences of the nachash who created those bad midot in you in the first place. But tzedakah is the one mitzvah that causes you to open your hand and to be generous, which is the opposite of how you were born into this world. And by fixing this one bad midah, you're correcting all the other negative traits that came after that. You hear this chidush? It's incredible. Interestingly, the Tikkunei Zohar says that someone who doesn't want to give tzedakah is called a kamtzan. He's a penny pincher, a cheapskate. Now, the root of the word kamtzan means to clench or to close. Speaking of which, it reminds me of a very cute story of a little boy who asks his, he was sitting in class, and the teacher was teaching mathematics, and she points to the boy and she says, Johnny, if you have $1, if your father gives you $1, and then he gives you another $1, how many dollars do you have in your hand? And he says, $1. So the teacher says, Johnny, I think you didn't understand what I said. You didn't hear me. I said, if your father gives you $1, and then he puts in your hand another $1, how many dollars do you now have? And again, Johnny said, $1. So the teacher says, Johnny, I see you don't know math. And Johnny says to her, and you don't know my father. Anyway, I'll never give him another $1. Anyway, like we said, a kamtzan is a cheapskate, and the root word of kamtzan comes from the Hebrew word which means to clench, to close. When a person is a kamtzan, he's closing his hand and he's refusing to give tzedakah, just like his hand was closed when he was born. That means that he hasn't changed his ways since the day that he was born. That's why Chachamim describe such a person in such harsh terms. That's why they say that such a midah shows that it might very well be that this individual might not be a true descendant of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov Avinu. Ladies, our purpose as Jews is to follow in the footsteps of our Avot HaKadoshim who overcame the forces of nature, and they worked on their midot. So when a person doesn't try to fix that original bad midah of kamtzanut, of closing his hands, he's showing that he probably didn't descend from the Avot HaKadoshim. But I want to know why the Torah HaKadosha attaches such great significance to the opening of one's hand while performing the mitzvah of tzedakah. Why is it so important to mention the hand when it discusses the mitzvah of tzedakah? Ki fatoach tiftach et yadecha. You should open your hand to the needy person. The Chachamim in the Gemara of Ta'anit teach us that the key to Parnasah stayed in the hands of Hashem, and this key was not given over to any malach. Only HaKadosh Baruch Hu holds the key to Parnasah. What's the proof that this is true? Because the pasuk in Sefer Tehillim, and we say this every day, it says, Poteach et yadecha u'masbiya lechol chai ratzon. It's HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you open your hand and you satisfy the desires of every living creature. And the Zohar HaKadosh explains on this pasuk that if we want to trigger a response from Shamayim concerning a particular matter in our life, we first need to do something, some corresponding act down here on earth. It's called a poal dimayon. What does that mean? For example, if you want Hashem to open up His hand in Shamayim and to provide you with good things and with Parnasah, then you have to do some corresponding act down below. You have to open your hand in a positive way so that HaKadosh Baruch Hu's hand in Shamayim will be triggered. So guess what? The mitzvah of tzedakah that we do here on earth serves this function. How? We mentioned earlier that a person is born with a clenched fist as if he's expressing that the entire world belongs to him. But we also said that if a person breaks this yetzer hara of being greedy and stingy, and instead he opens his hand to give to his brothers in need, then that action here on earth will create a reaction from Shamayim. And you know what's going to happen? HaKadosh Baruch Hu will also open His hand to give you all the things that you need. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, just like you act with me, that's how I'm going to behave with you. If you open your hand and you give tzedakah to my children, I will also open my hand and use the key of Parnasah to give you what I have in my treasure house. Maybe that's what the pasuk in our parasha this week is teaching us. The Torah HaKadosha is telling us, don't close your hand to your poor brother, because if you do, that's going to cause HaKadosh Baruch Hu to close His hand, and He'll refrain from providing you and the entire world with all the good that it needs. And then what does the pasuk continue to say in this week's parasha? Ki fatoach tiftach. This is a double lashon. There's a double recipe here. Fatoach tiftach. Fatoach is telling us that when we open our hands down here on earth in order to give tzedakah, you know what's going to happen? Tiftach. Hashem will also open up His hand and give us what we need. And when we open up our hand to those who ask us for help, you know what else is going to happen? The pasuk in Sefer Tehillim is going to come to life. Poteach et yadecha u'masbiya lechol chai ratzon. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to provide you and the entire world with all the things that this world needs and all the things you need. As a matter of fact, the Gemara of Baba Batra tells us that Rabbi Elazar alav shalom had a minhag that before he'd begin davening, he'd give a coin to a poor person or put money in the tzedakah. The halakha in the Shulchan Aruch actually says that it's a good idea to give tzedakah before you start davening. Why? Ladies, the purpose of davening is to instill in us and to strengthen in us our emunah in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. A Jew has to understand that whatever his needs are in life, they can only come from the Ribono Shel Olam. That's why Chachamim tell us that when you recite the words Poteach et Yadecha, you have to have the proper kavanot. Not only that, but Rabbi Elazar tells us that the words Poteach et Yadecha u'mazbiya lechol chai ratzon, which are found in the tefillah of Ashrei that we say every day, if we recite the tefillah of Ashrei 3 times a day, we're guaranteed to have a chelek in Olam Haba. However, but you have to concentrate on the words Poteach et Yadecha. Why? Because in this pasuk, you're praising Hashem for caring about His creations and for sustaining them. You're giving Shevach to Kadosh Baruch Hu for providing the needs of every living creature here on earth, from the tiniest ant to the majestic king of this entire world, physical king, which is us. We're the prime creation, the human being. Maybe that's why Rabbi Elazar gave tzedakah before he davened. It was like a symbolic gesture. He opened his hand down here on earth in order to fulfill the mitzvah of kifatoach tiftach et yadecha lo. Open your hand to your brother. And he did that in order to trigger the opening of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's hand up above. And once he did that, he knew that HaKadosh Baruch Hu would now fulfill his part of the deal and be poteach et yadecha u'mazbiya lechol chai ratzon. He could daven well now. However, the Bnei Yissaschar points out something very important. He says that there are times in life when a person is going through a very trying nisayon, and it's difficult for him to do an appropriate act first. It's hard for him to initiate so that that initiation will trigger Hashem's reaction. It's hard for him at times. What happens when you're so poor that you can't open your hand to anyone else? When you don't even have 5 cents to put in the tzedakah box, and you can't make that initiative. The Bnei Yissaschar tells us HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a merciful God. He doesn't stand on ceremony. He doesn't wait. Instead, He does something first before you will. He brings something good into your life when you're down and out, but on condition. What's the condition? That when He sends you that opening, when He sends you what you need, you have to fulfill your obligation and do what you were supposed to do down here on earth, but that you weren't able to do it because of your challenging situation, because of your nisayon. In other words, HaKadosh Baruch Hu watches to see if He will help you first. What are you going to do? If your situation improves, are you going to give tzedakah, which was what you should have given before but you couldn't because of your situation? Or are you going to keep the money for yourself? So we see that even in situations when you're not able to take the initiative here on earth, like giving the tzedakah when you're unable to, where it's hard for you to open your hand to give those who are asking for help, what will HaKadosh Baruch Hu do? If you have the ratzon to give to open your hand, HaKadosh Baruch Hu still will continue to have rachamim on you. He will take that key of parnasah, if you have the ratzon, by the way, and He opens His hand to provide you with the ability to put food on the table, but on condition. When your situation gets better, you have to have rachamim on others and help them in the same way HaKadosh Baruch Hu took that initiative towards you, had rachamim on you, and helped you. But sadly, ladies, Chachamim tell us that because a person has bad midot that are apparent already from when he's born, from a very early age, there's nobody in this world who can claim without a doubt that he gave tzedakah in the right way or enough of it. Do you hear what I'm telling you? This is astounding. The rabbis are telling us that because every person was born with this bad midah of a closed hand, if they didn't work on it enough in their lifetime, they won't be able to claim before the Bet Din Shel Mala that they gave enough tzedakah or that they gave it in the right way. So do you know what the Chachamim did in order to help us with this problem? They instituted and they introduced the mitzvah of Netilat Yadayim. Every Jew has to wash his hands in order to purify those hands from the defect, so to speak, that was created every time he closed his hands and he didn't give tzedakah the right way. Did you believe this? Ladies, as you're performing the mitzvah of Netilat Yadayim, Chachamim tell us it's very important that you open both hands and you take the cup in one hand, right? And it's very important that as the water is flowing onto the hand, that the hand stays open. You can't clench the fist, otherwise it's considered pasul. It's important both hands have to be open as the water is flowing upon them. And we do that in order to cleanse those hands properly, in order to purify them. We open our hands when we wash Netilat Yadayim in order to make them tahor from that blemish that they were closed when they should have been opened. The Chachamim hope that by washing Netilat Yadayim and keeping your hands open as you wash, it's going to teach you to open your hands when it's time to give tzedakah. These are fascinating things we're learning here, ladies. Don't forget to email me about it. You guys are so good about it. You email me all the time with all your feedback, and I love it. I love it. Anyway, interestingly, there's a halakha in the Shulchan Aruch that says the following: Yiten shte yadav al hapat beshat beracha. When you eat bread, you should put both hands on the loaf of bread while you're reciting the beracha of Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. And each one of us, depending on where you come from, has a different minhag, but it's very interesting to see we all use both our hands. You'll never see anybody at his table, at least not anybody from a religious household, holding the bread with one hand. They always put two hands. Fascinatingly, ladies, the Gemara of Sotah tells us that at the end of a meal, when we recite Birkat HaMazon, and we have three men present for a zimun, mezumin, we fill up a kos shel beracha. We fill up a cup with wine, and then the Bal Habayit decides who's going to hold that cup while that person is going to recite Birkat HaMazon. Who is going to give that honor to at the table? Would you believe it if I told you that the Gemara tells us that we have to give that kos shel bracha to somebody who we know at that table is a generous person? Why? Because someone who has the midah of being generous will be blessed by HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because that person used his generosity to provide bread to those who needed it. Such a person can be honored at a meal by giving him the koshel beracha that he's going to hold while he's reciting the Birkat HaMazon for the bread that he eats. He deserves it. Be'emet, he deserves it. In other words, you don't just give the koshel beracha to somebody at your table because you don't want to make him feel badly, because he's your son-in-law, so you got to give him honor, or he's your son, he's sitting and learning. He has to deserve and earn that koshel beracha. You have to give that honor to someone you know is extremely generous with his food, meaning he helps feed other people, with his money, he gives tzedakah, he's generous, with his time, he does chasadim. That's the reason we're told that we have to put both of our hands on the loaf of bread when we're reciting the bracha of Hamotzi Lechem Min Haaretz, ladies. Because when we do that, we're suggesting that if we want to recite the bracha over the bread properly, if we want to be able to hold that koshel bracha or have a blessing of parnasah in our life, and we know that the bread represents parnasah, we have to open both of our hands to give tzedakah to those who are in need. We have to want to feed them, to support them. So when we use both of our hands to hold that bread, it's as if we're showing Hashem that we want to possess a generous nature so that we could actually be worthy to recite the beracha and to bring down all the blessings of parnasah from Shamayim down to this earth. That being said, you should know that I don't have an easy job, because I'm not just a lecturer. I'm responsible for everything that happens with our organization, Ohel Sarah, and it's a holy organization. And one of the things that I'm responsible for is to raise money so that we could continue to do our good work all over the world. Our organization is a mobile organization. You guys here in Brooklyn, you come to these shiurim here in this place, true, but I travel all over the country and all over the world in order to bring Torah to every woman out there who could use chizuk, who could use some spiritual sustenance, food for the soul. So there are a few times a year when I feel it's the appropriate time to ask for help so that we can maintain this amazing center of Torah. And one of the times that I ask is now, during the Yamim HaNoraim. Ladies, so I'm asking you, and you also there out there at Torah Anytime, I'm asking you to be my partners in this outreach program of Torah for women. Now you know we've been working on a very special and exclusive Torah site for women for the past year and a half already, that's set to launch Be'ezrat Hashem in the next 2 weeks. I'm hoping and I'm praying. And that's just an indication of all the ways that we're trying to expand and reach more women out there in the world so that we can help them come close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and close to His Torah. We want to provide Jewish women with chizuk and to bring more spiritual awareness into their life. Ladies, we have sisters out there who are in need. They're in need of a helping hand, of food, of spiritual counseling. They need help with the nisayon of their children who are being swallowed up by the challenges of this very difficult galut, of this very challenging generation. They need us to see them through this disheartening galut. And in all honesty, I'm also in need because I cannot do this alone. That's why I'm in need. I'm just one person. I'm just a humble servant of the Ribono Shel Olam who simply wants to help her fellow brothers and sisters find their way back to Yadut. I want to be able to strengthen the emunah and bitachon and even the resilience of women who are, whether they're non-observant who are already religious, but could use a boost of energy, of warmth, and spiritual enhancement in their life. I want to be able to help all these teenagers who come to my home and they need guidance and they need attention and a caring environment. I want to do so much, and I really do try my best, I really do. But I can't do this alone. I can't. So here I am, reaching out to all my Talmidot everywhere, here in the United States and all over the world. Torah anytime. I'm asking you all to please open both your hands, Fatoach Tiftach, and kindly send us a donation to help our cause. And Be'ezrat Hashem, I promise you that you will see the benefits of your open hands throughout the course of this coming year. HaKadosh Baruch Hu in His mercy will look down and He's going to see the act of your generosity, and you know what He's going to do? He's going to fulfill the pasuk on you, Poteach et yadecha u'mazbiya lechol chai ratzon. He's going to take the key of parnasa and beracha, and He's going to unlock the gates of His treasure houses, and all the good, all the blessings are going to come pouring down into your life when you need it the most. Ladies, join me on this mission of helping our fellow brothers and sisters. It's so important. You can make you a donation by logging on to our site www.ohelsara.com. That's OHELSARA.com, and you'll see that you can click the donate button, which will reroute you to PayPal. You can make your donation through PayPal. You can also call our offices at 347-430-5700. That's 347-430-5700, and make your donation via the phone. And if you choose to call our office, you can ask to speak to me directly, and I'll gladly speak with you and give you a nice time, maybe even a chidush. You go into the year with a chidush from me personally on the phone, or you can mail in a tax-deductible donation to our office at the address that you're going to see on the screen. To all of you, you know we are at 902 Ocean Parkway, apartment 6D as in David, Brooklyn, New York, 11230. You could put it as care of K. Sarah Cohen. And if you, like I said, if you can't see the address because you're listening to this shiur and not viewing it, you can call our office and we'll gladly give you the address. Also, I wanted to mention that women have been asking me if they can make monthly donations. I don't know why they didn't know that, but the answer is yes. Monthly donations, you should know, help us the most, because we know then that there's a constant flow of donations that are coming in, which helps us throughout the rest of the year. And I have to thank all those women out there who are making their monthly donations to us. HaKadosh Baruch Hu yivarech otchem v'yimaled kol mishalot libchem letova u'livracha. You know, being in Hashem's army and recruiting soldiers for the immense battle that we face in this generation, it's not simple, and it's not easy at all. So I want us all this year to endeavor to help so that we can strengthen the Jewish army, so that this merit will stand for you and for your children in this galut, and so that you have a chelek of this great mitzvah of kiruv rechokim and kiruv kerovim. That's number 2. Another thing I wanted to talk to you about is concerning our Rosh Hashanah baskets. Last year, we made Rosh Hashanah baskets for all the divorced women, the almanot, or older singles who were going through a very tough time, and now also this year. And they're entering the Chag with not such a great feeling. All those divorced women who are not yet married and they're raising their kids on their own. All those almanot who didn't yet find their shidduch and they have kids at home or they're alone. All those single girls or older single girls out there who have to walk into the Bet Midrash, into the shul, on the Chagim, again, or to go away from families. And again, this year they're not married. They're down and out. So we created Rosh Hashanah baskets for all these women. And in the baskets, there are chalot and candles, a little jar of honey, a bottle of grape juice, tefillot for the Chag, an inspiring magnet they could put on their fridge, a letter from me giving them chizuk, some sweets and snacks for the children or for themselves. And it really makes their day, really makes their day. Each basket makes their Chag, actually. Each basket is the same price as it was last year, it's $36. So for those who also want to join the basket campaign, you could do the same. You could log on to ohelsara.com, and you're going to see right there on the first page, you can click on that icon that says Rosh Hashanah baskets, and just pick how many baskets you would like to sponsor, and we'll gladly deliver them on your behalf. Ladies, I want to wish you all the start of a chodesh, of a month that will usher in all the berachot, all the yeshuot and the nechamot that we could all use. It should be the beginning of good, of hope, of closeness to Hashem, and the revelation of truth already. May this year bring with it Chaim, Chaim shel Shalom, Chaim shel Shalva, Chaim shel Tov, and may we all be inscribed in the book of life and be zeicha to witness the final geula in our days. Amen. Ken. Yehi Ratzon.